selected this map. DDK, we're getting underway right now, and we wondered about the Sova. Will there be a Killjoy? No. Brax is on the Sova. They are definitely looking for information, knowing they're attacking first.
Oh, this is awesome to see. I was wondering if they would find a way to finagle a Sova. It's so much a part of the meta on this map, but we'll have to see how it plays out. We have a lot of Killjoy stuff around the B bomb side here. It's really important to really coat it with that, because it's very easy to gain ground onto the B side, and one of the things you need is post-plant positioning, but we'll go into that in a moment as we start to see the initial pressure, as mentioned, the EU with that paranoia, able to send that all the way through B main to clear any close peaks, which allows fairly cheaply for them to have presence there. We'll have to see what the adjustment will be here for as far as MV are concerned. And here it is. We've got Sova droning out A main. They're trying to work out exactly what T1 are up to.
T1 really did not go mid much yesterday, and I like to see that changing now. Unfortunately, as Crashies tries to lurk around A main, he is going to be found by Caboose, who's on Phoenix now. And we're going to see a nice pick coming through. Opposing shots from Calypso here in the back. Nice timing there to follow up his paranoia. And that's going to be the first 2 picks here out of Envy.
And at this point, T1 really have to just commit through, and that's a fantastic flash out of the dark cover. ZK will be able to trade the kill, but now they're down 2 against 4. It is a pistol, so there is always the possibility, and E's going to catch Calypso sleeping as he moves through that smoke. Perfect timing there from EU, and they get the high ground onto this A bomb site, which will be absolutely key as they try to take these positions. But Mummy is creeping around the generator, and this might cause a lot of problems as he catches AZK off guard.
And Killjoy will be found up top. EU trying to clutch in the 1v3, finds his first. But the other two, well, they're peeking together. And EU did not find the headshot there on the Sova. So 2 bullets before he dies, had Spike in hand, but just 14 seconds on the clock, and you need 4 left to plant. He's got to go gun to gun and find the headshots. Instead, it's Mummy for another body in his second of the round. Good defensive hold here from Envy. They got the first pick from Caboose, not Food, on his Phoenix. And then, of course, we saw a strong finish from the Sova as Mummy switches off the Jet.
I liked that, Crashies went down immediately, but I liked that he went for the aggressive play because I believe that he dodged the Sova drone, and so that is the reason why he pushes there, because he thinks, oh, they just cleared all of this, they have no idea I'm here, and he actually got the drop on the fight, although he was facing 2 players. There's a world where Crashies just instantly ends the round after that play. So moving into the next round, obviously you're thinking about this anti-eco. We see the Marshal in the hands of Caboose. You don't want to smoke things off too much. You want to try to keep those long ranges. It's up to the attack here to try to close the distance and use the smokes and so on to allow yourself to get the numbers bursting onto a position. And goodbye, Crashies.
He does some cool jumps, but instantly gets shredded by the Spectre. Calypso's down, playing the lurk, and he is going to be rotating behind everyone in mid. That is where the stall out is happening with AZK and EU kind of trapped. They want to push into B to help out Brax, but there is so much utility in Brax's way onto the site, and of course the rotation from the back is hitting them just in time as Calypso finds the first. Mummy goes for a finish, and now it's Brax on a 1 versus 4.
Yeah, I like this defense here from Envy. I love the fact that they closed the market door. You don't need that mid position. As far as the pistols are concerned, the ecoing players, if they are to try to make a play into spawn, which you've left open, it's really difficult to deal with that as the attackers, because you're playing huge range advantage for the defenders. So you do want to try to play the close positions. So it just feels kind of impossible. So Envy made that as hard as it could possibly be. And we'll have to see, now we move into the gun round, if the operator in the hands of AZK is going to give T1 any way to open things up with an advantage.
Now AZK only has 1 kill at this point, so the money is pretty low, and he will not be able to buy any armor. That means the aim punch is going to be severe, and he is going to have to connect on these shots.
And just to quickly interject, we're going to see a lot of action on A main here, Pocket. We're going to see the Gelato battle.
Spikes down in the back. Brax just making noise as always at the start here at B. Try and keep Killjoy at bay. Instantly, the Cypher Cam eliminated, but the paranoia is out. Calypso's going to respond with his own, but not before flames are at his feet. The hot hands from Food are going to cause problems, and already 3 kills scored for T1 as they can walk their way onto the A site.
Yeah, Envy tried to contest that with not enough. Here is Brax lurking around the mid link position to catch the rotation out of mid from Finesse, and That's just adding insult to injury at this point, leaving just one player for Envy. And you know, around like this, I'm really, really curious if what we're going to see now is a battle where T1 are like, well, if we can just continue to win this position, if our opponents are contesting it like this, we're always going to be able to get or be able to convert a kill. So let's just keep doing this and see what Envy's response is. It could be that Envy's response is actually to just, instead of challenging this with a more significant setup where they pull another player and have a true setup to try to push out of A main and as I said, like actually go for gelato control, maybe they just give it up entirely and try to take other parts of the map. So this is kind of what we're looking at right now, because when you're starting off on the attacking side, you want to condition your opponents and start to force reactions that you can then punish. So we'll see how that battle starts to emerge as we see the default here from T1.
Gotta love the mind games in Valorant. It's not just about the weapons, it's about using your abilities and of course misinformation to its utmost. Food on your screen has been so fun to watch today. He and Crashy's putting on a show for you back on Split. On Phoenix now, off of the Rays, and he was the one that caused problems for Calypso, who was trying to hide back at Wine with his hot hands, helping lead his team onto the A site. Off the break, early shots coming out as EU through the paranoia, or through the blind, dark cover rather, is able to find a headshot. And Food, he's going to be given the orb. So working towards that Phoenix ultimate, they want to run it back.
I thought, sorry for losing myself a bit there. I thought that was a random shot through the smoke. So
EU just underneath, you know, he's hanging out. But Food would have cleaned him up. I believed in it. Brax has been so patient. He's got to be one of the most annoying players to go up against because his aim is always so strong, so true. Not just one player, two players will get sprayed down by him if you give him the opportunity. And he has been making noise, making it very difficult for Akis to get a real read on where this pressure is coming from T1.
And the default response from the defenders is usually playing B retake because it's very hard to stop them taking it, and you want to just prevent them from getting post-bomb positioning afterwards. So that's kind of what we're mostly seeing here from Envy. He's trying to defend this Food though with a nice wide swing there against Akis. Will take market control, leaving the Sova on B alone for Envy. And look at T1 just like pushing and pulling, staying together, and now they can just move back towards A after threatening B. So just making it impossible to read for Envy, but Envy have decided to just stick to this A site with the Phoenix and Finesse here around the generator. He's going to find himself 2 quick kills, but he will be traded out. There's just too many numbers.
Yeah, the Food Crashy's combo. Crashy's distracting with the camera, finds a pick, and then Food will trade out the Finesse kill. So it's going to be Mummy on the Sova, shooting out his chalk darts. Won't be able to do much damage there, and he's just going to keep the operator. Should be the game plan, I assume. Make a little noise, check your back, slowly walk this one back into the spawn, hoping that there isn't someone waiting for you in mid.
And so the beginning of this round as well kind of played out like we were sort of talking about. It's like T1's are like, oh, actually we can get some value from this A main take, and having this be very heavy, this presence from our default at the beginning of the round. T1's, or rather Envious's adjustment, there wasn't really much of an adjustment. If anything, there was less going into contesting that position, but they still tried to contest it because you don't want to give it up for free. So now Envy have to either completely give it up, don't challenge it at all, and then bank on T1 having most of their players there, and instead Envy can take other parts of the map, or they try to really challenge for this and invest a lot more. So that's kind of what's going on here at the early offset of this round. And we can see there are 3 players here. They're looking to contest this.
In Calypso, I've seen him in the past get a little bit tilted. When things are not going their way on defense, he tries to do too much, tries to set up his teammates with a paranoia and get real aggressive. I like this. You only have the operator. Everyone else is on pistol, so might as well get aggro again. You know someone has always been on the other side of this wall at the start here for T1. This time it's AZK with that operator. Despite the one-way smoke, he can see legs as well, and he's going to make that shot land. Calypso answers back, though, with the snipe of his own.
This is such a smart way that T1 played this. We'll go into that in a moment as we see them capitalizing on the early pick that they made. It was a 4v4, but they are the attackers, so they have the advantage. Moving forwards, Caboose with the Sheriff!
Line him up!
A collat with the Sheriff. You don't see that every day. Beautiful work there from Caboose. And now T1 are in... They're in for a lot of problems here. 2 versus 3, they have time, but they now just have 1 player, and that's the spike down in A main as well. So it doesn't look like Food really has many options in this position.
All right, you only had an operator, a frenzy, and a few ghosts to work with for Envy, and you are about to pull off a 5th round victory unless Food can pull off a miracle. He's got to run it back. 2 defenders near this A site, spike in hand, 40 seconds left, could rotate it all the way over to B if he wanted to. Instead, he's going to go for a quick pick. And there goes the run it back. They know where his body's going to be. No flank threat, though. Everyone will be above. So Food just trying to work his way out of the site, and there is going to be the player from the back. The body will be fallen as Caboose finds 4 as Phoenix. Very nice round as Envy comes out with an eco win.
And I want to highlight very quickly, even though T1 lost the round, what they did was really smart at the beginning of the round. They used EU, and here's, oh, look at this.
Line him up!
Oh, yeah, that feels good, man. That should be on some naughty websites. So that's what they were doing there, T1, is they anticipated Envious to heavily commit. So they had the one-way smoke, as you mentioned, from EU, and they hold the gap with the operator expecting the swing, and then they collapse onto it after the fact. Didn't work out ultimately, but you can see that they were reading an investment there. And well, there we go. A quick challenge from Mummy, and Caboose! Hello, just running down mid, through mid link with that run it back. That is beautiful work from him and Mummy. And just like that, they are decimated, T1. That
4K round gives you the ultimate, and then you turn into 3 more kills. Not a bad run here in back-to-back rounds from Caboose. Crashies, he's got an operator. He's got a U with him, and this round is going to be a save, as I do not expect them to try to work anything over at the B site. They just want to protect each other's backs. Dan, what do you do here? you got the teleport potentially.
I think you just hold for a save here. It's really it's horrible and it's really boring, but
50 seconds of fun.
Exactly, just sitting in spawn. And the question is whether Envy have enough money that they would want to hunt these kills. And I think it's quite difficult in this situation to hunt for these kills. I think they would be risking too much of their own economy. So you have this like gentleman's agreement of a standoff of we're not going to come for you, you're not going to come for us. We're just going to have this as a timeout, I guess, for both teams. And the question here for T1 is that although they were finding that consistent value around A main, they have to think of whether they want to switch that up or not now. I don't know if there's an argument necessary for them to switch it up too much, but they have to be cautious that what we just saw doesn't happen, where because they've been going A main so frequently at the beginning of the round, what happened in this round, Envious go aggressive in mid, because they know that mid is going to be less occupied at that timing of the round. So that is Envious now saying, well, we're going to exploit your heavy presence towards A on the default at the early timings. So now we're getting in this back and forth of what's the T1 adjustment now.
And I really like that Caboose knew exactly where Brax was going to be sitting after 4 straight rounds of playing it the same way. This time, Caboose gets the punish first on Brax, then he's going to find Food before going back to his original body. Crashies and EU able to survive with weapons, so it's going to be 4 ARs and a Sheriff coming out from the Sova, but that Hunter's Fury is available, so is the Blade Storm from AZK if he wants to hand off the Sniper.
I think this is a good call. Again, we're going to see very similar stuff here, opening up towards A main. Trades all over the place. Will favor the attackers, though, in this 3v3. The Neural Theft comes through as well for Crashies to find out all of the remaining positions. And now with confidence, they can move forwards, knowing that Mummy's the first player on contact. They block the vision, and here is the plant. Or maybe not. The Hunter's Fury there from Mummy will buy time for his teammates to get into position for the retake. And Food, oh my god, he is not going to wait around for that retake. He's just going to annihilate them.
It's a Phoenix party on this map. I'm loving it so far. Caboose had his turn. Now it's Food's. Akis working behind. Trying to whittle down the remaining players. As he checks the door, he says, okay, well, there's no one really here to help him. That's going to be a free kill, but what can he do after it? About 20 seconds left on this clock to work with. And he is checking every possible head angle. Crashy's behind the wall. Camera's going to tag him up. Akis has got to make a play. He's stuck between both, and T1 is playing this perfect. Crashy's finds his third as Food picks up the other 2. The young duo for T1 making an impact in this series.
Yeah, and this is one of those things where it's like, you know, they go back to the A main stuff because even though it went badly one round, they're still getting early round engagements, which on the attacking side is huge, because even if you, let's say, you know, after all is said and done, you go down and you're, let's say, 3 against 4, that's still really good for the attackers because there's so many holes on the defense. You have lots of time to then possibly rotate around and play rotations. So they're going to keep hammering this A main control until Envy stop contesting it.
T1 still holding on to all 3 ultimates from the previous round as well. The Hunter's Fury came out from Envy on the defense to no avail. This time around, Mummy is going to check mid with his Owl Drone, sees nothing. That should be giant red flags. Big light bulb. They're coming A, boys, and they're coming heavy. Here comes the Hunter's Fury from Brax. Tags up one player down in hell, but Calypso will survive. EU with a nice teleport actually commits for the first time, and he will trade that into a headshot. So already 2 down from Envy. A wide open. Mummy on the other side of the wall is going to be blocked off. A smoke up top is going to nullify his operator. So this is a clean plant coming in from T1.
Yeah, this is looking really good. The Hunter's Fury there, the sound of it is so loud that it covers the sound of the teleport, so you don't know where that teleport's actually happening. And you can possibly, I don't know if they did this, but you could potentially teleport into the Hunter's Fury as well. It doesn't do it does very little damage to teammates. So that is, I don't know if that's something that people have been experimenting with, but that was beautiful. Such a great site take, and Envy are forced to give it up. And I feel like the A side is pretty retakeable if you can get tree control, but at this point, at 5 versus 3, it just really, I think, seemed like too much for Envy, and their money is not great. So T1, you can see how simple their game plan is here, and they're just consistently winning the early engagements around A main, and they don't have to complicate it further than that, because after the dust settles on that engagement, they can just figure out, okay, we have an advantage pretty much every time. How do we want to play it this time?
B hasn't been touched. We've been looking at the mini-map. I feel like Akis is having the most boring game of his life on Killjoy.
Yeah, he's just playing an RTS with all of his just like deployable things, just building stuff over there. He's playing Civilization or something.
At what point do you maybe start setting up some of the equipment at A and then running back to B? Is that something needed? Do you expect T1 to swap it up? We'll see how Envy decides to play this in the remaining 4 rounds of the first half. Envy, of course, on defense as it's T1's map pick, and T1 stole split, so they are on match point potential here, match game.
Yeah, and T1 are, as you said, expecting that Envious would make an adjustment to be much lighter towards the B and mid-B side of the map. But they can still go for late retakes of A main. That's also something that they can do to really mess with Envious. And that's exactly what we're seeing, is they get a free take of this position because Envy are like, well, we took this, but we don't want to hold here because now you're not here anymore. So you could be somewhere else, and we don't want to be out of position, so we have to fall back. And so T1 now have A main for free, and they have presence around the rest of the map. If they can get now a mid-take going, they can split. Either way, it really just depends on how this mid-engagement goes.
And I think it is going to be a late round over at A as Crashies has ducked into Wine. They used EU to clear it out. Crashies is just going to post up, using his camera to spot anyone who may peek out. That puts all of the pressure on Envy to be doing the damage in mid over at the B site. And this A hit is going to be coming through as they want to go up short. It's just one Phoenix to run through, but it's been the star player so far in this game. Caboose is on fire in day 2, and that flash is going to find 3. The run it back goes down, but they don't drop any other bodies. And Envy's finesse again, impressing with a double before being taken down.
They do manage to get the spike onto the site, or towards the site at the very least. The Paranoia coming through their clip, so trying to do what he can to survive. Oh, the Paranoia comes out, but just a tad too late there, and he can't deny the spike plant. 2 versus 3 here for Envious on this retake. Lots of time to do it. Oh my goodness, just running, swinging straight into this one. Akis will go down with the Killjoy, leaving Finesse on his lonesome. As he swings into position. Oh man, that's a nice, nasty off angle from Crashies, but Finesse will still take him down. But no HP to really work with him. This was a great finish from T1 as we see Crashies trying to upgrade the gun at least, save that operator. And you can see all of the shenanigans now because of the way the early round's playing out. All these mind games. T1, they had a Sova dart there, they put a camera there. They were, Envious, they were so paranoid that that would be retaken later into the round that they have to invest a lot of mid-round utility there.
Been really impressed with the ultimate usage. As you mentioned previous rounds, it was Brax's Hunter's Fury, which covered the teleport in from EU. That time around, it was a simple run it back. As Food cleared the way, the rest of T1 able to take the site. Nice late round efforts from Finesse, but he wasn't able to do enough damage to really have an impact. And we're looking at round 10. Could be a 6-round win potentially for T1 on the attack if they can keep this ball rolling. We got the Blade Storm always ready for AZK, but he's been happy to just take it slow and work his way in with the op.
Oh, for sure, and it is so insane how much, like, all the Cypher and Killjoy's utilities on the B side, which does allow Cypher to cheat away towards the A side of the map, leave Killjoy there alone, as we see once again this fight over A main control. This positioning is so critical for both teams, but consistently T1 have been on the better end of that exchange, which means that they found a hole in Envious's game. Envious don't have a good enough setup to a set piece to take that position away, and T1 are exploiting this. Time and again, they win this position early on. And now back into the mid-rounds, mid-control play. And as far as Envious are concerned, they're worried about A splits in these positions because they've given up so much ground on A main and catwalk. But will it be an A split? T1 can do whatever.
T1 is looking so much cleaner today. They're taking advantage of the middle of the map. Envy honestly hasn't even contested it outside of the one round we saw with the rush from Caboose. And here's your first opportunity. Akis was playing the earlier corner. Expect a double peek as they clear it out. It's going to be a slow push down the mid all the way to the CT spawn, the defender spawn here, as T1 is now flipped the script.
Oh, I almost looked like a collab there, but we're going to get a swing straight into the A side after what looks like B pressure. It was always going to be A here. Great response from Calypso on Tree, doing everything he possibly can to try to hold things off for a moment longer to allow his team to get time to rotate back into the side, but they cannot deny crashes on the plant. Brax on the off angle, as he loves to do, is going to leave his teammate crashes in a 1v2 off the plant.
And I have no idea where that lockdown was placed, but I don't think the Killjoy ultimate going to have any impact here in the final fight. Crashes with the Phantom in his back pocket, pulls it out a little bit too late. Finesse, clutch on defense again as he rotates over with his Killjoy, this time able to tie it up. 5-5, not a bad first half here for Envy.
This was another really good round from T1. If you look at the way that they create pressure, we talked about it, they take A main control, they go into mid control, and mid has been given up because Envy is so afraid of the A hits, and then Envy are thinking, oh well, they have all the control now to go for an A split, but then all the pressure comes towards B market and spawn, which suggests, with that dark cover on spawn, suggests that T1 are going for B. But in reality, they're wrapping through to A because they left the spike with the Cypher towards A main for that rotation. So they make it look like B, and they're just pulling and pulling you all over the place. It's beautiful work from them.
And without Calypso's heroics, I don't think that's an Envy round. So big shout out to the Green Omen, who now has his ultimate available to help out any action over at B. But it's going to be Calypso working with Caboose again. The solo players at A this time around. Food's going to be spotted in the middle of the map, and already a little rotation from Finesse as he may want to go for a peek.
Really interesting here to see that Envious have 3 players towards this B site. We haven't really seen this all too much. And T1 are looking like they're about to do a contact straight through to the A site. Although they do have their omen with the Paranoia, that's going to go straight through towards the tree position. I think that got both Phoenix and Omen. Oh, sorry, that was a dark cover to spawn. So the global smoke, but I think they would have been able to see where the smoke came from, which could be a huge tell for Envious as to what T1 are doing here.
Finesse knows at least the Omen is over at A. He spots that out and survives the flash attempt from Food. Food versus Finesse in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, all the other fights are going to be going down here at A. Finesse finds Food, but Brax and crew are breaking onto site, and Caboose, he's all caged up.
After the door closes, the spike will be planted towards the generator, and now the post plant. These post plants are not easy to actually hold on to when you have no position around tree. They're working from site and A main. It's not the strongest thing in the world. There's a late flank from Brax up catwalk, as we just saw. And finally, as you mentioned, Puckett, the daggers will come out for AZK.
Here we go, AZK waiting for the push through the cage, and he is there with the punish. Crash, he's helping out as AZK finds a headshot. Brax on the late flank will find the 5th and final kill as Akis is dropped. T1 looking at a 7-5 potential finish to their attacking half. This is fantastic for Ascent, looking very comfortable on the defense in the past. And here we could see them finish strong if Brax is able to get a single orb. Hunter's Fury is unleashed, and that A side is going to be even easier to take.
I actually think that given how much difficulty Envious have had, I would say that T1 are playing a really good attacking side. If Envious didn't pick up that pistol, they'd be in a really bad spot here. 5 rounds, given that they've been playing from disadvantage most of the time, is really, really good. And, oh, much more aggressive play coming through towards A main there from Envious. Gets them a lot of info, and they get, there's a Crashy's camera that will be destroyed also. So that's a big win early on for Envious in this whole tug-of-war battle over the early map control around A main. And a retake comes in from T1 with Omen, with the Omen smoke from EU, as well as Crashy's on that Cypher. So
it's like, how much did it cost you to win that, though? You saw, what, the Omen teleport instantly come in, and then, of course, the run it back used by Caboose. Here comes Brax, spike in hand. Trying to bait out a peeker, but it's Cypher and Killjoy playing this site. Akis and Finesse have been so stoic, just standing in place, not biting on any of the noises. They're going to force T1 to truly commit on the B site. They have not done so yet.
And Brax just picked up the orb that gives him Hunter's Fury. So we'll have to see how T1 deal with all of the utility between Cypher and Killjoy that's on this B site currently, and how this Hunter's Fury will assist Brax in helping his teammates take this position. There's already a rotation. There's already that sense from Envious that they know what's happening. And there it is. Hunter's Fury's popped. Crashy's emerged through the smoke on Catwalk. And that's a very, very annoying thing to deal with. Calypso will deal with it, though. But there's all that utility getting popped, slowing things down. But it looks like T1 are coming for that B site.
Everyone was tagged up there by Brax as well as he picks up 2. EU is going to flush to the site. But Finesse, again, a hero in the back, is going to clean up 3 players in. The final one will fall as Mummy cleans up AZK with the op. So much damage done by the Hunter's Fury, but no kills finished off. And then you just don't bank on Finesse, the old man, the IGL, to get the job done the way he has throughout this series. Again, a heroic performance.
Yeah, that was insane that he gets 3 kills there. He's only supposed to get 1, but the lineup there obviously prevents him from getting traded, and he is able to isolate another 1v1, and he wins it too. If he only gets the 1 and done there, as he's supposed to, that's a 2v2, and so, you know, T1 are really on for that. So, again, Envious, 6-6, considering how horrible that half was for them, that's an insanely good score.
Mame, very impressive arrow at the end there, set up his whole team for success as well. So, good retake. Calypso surviving and getting his 1v1 win against Crashies. Everyone chiming in for Envy on the defensive end, but who will be their leader on the attack? It's going to be some mid-action early as the noise has been made from Catwalk. It's going to be an Envy push through the mid, trying to time it with their teammates' push coming out of B main.
Yeah, I really like how they're executing this one. You will be forced back here by that cage to get to move through that cage, through market, towards that B split. They already used the dark cover on the spawn area, so you can see Brax can't see a single thing. There's also a molly there. There goes the curveball as well to make life even more difficult. The paranoia as well. Somehow Brax is still alive. He was able to move out of the way of all of that. And the site's taken, the spikes planted, but they don't have any control outside of the site. And that's usually a problem. And a Sova arrow is ready. And as soon as that Sova arrow is ready, they can go for the hit.
Brax has survived so much equipment attempted at him, and he is going to be able to use his now. The recon arrow, though, destroyed instantly. No info gained, but his teammates are pushing up from the opposite side. A pinch is here. Great jet push, but AZK can't find the headshot, and Caboose will clean up both remaining players. Envy wins another pistol round and will set themselves up for another successful attack.
I think I've got to give like the clutch factor in this game, in this map so far to Envy, given how many like hard spots they've been in and how much extra value they managed to find in these positions. You know, I feel like T1, it's difficult to be in this spot where you feel like you're doing everything right. You're able to execute your game plan and your strats. You're getting the advantageous positions you're looking for, yet you're still unable to close the rounds. You know, that's very frustrating. But we'll see if they can find a recovery. They are in the eco now. And we got the mid burst is going to be coming, I would imagine, given that there's basically everybody around that pizza position currently.
Akis on the Killjoy has set up a turret just to watch their flank as they show a little early action at B and then work their way back to mid. A 5-stack coming out of T1, though, on the defensive end. 4 players chilling just around that left corner. And one finally making his way over to the A site. That is going to be EU, who's about to run into the whole squad.
Oh, is there a paranoia available here from EU? There is. This could actually be huge because they're all stacked up on the catwalk position. And all of a sudden now they're going to force their way through. He can't get the paranoia out in time. He can't connect the classic either. And they are on the run right now to the bomb site. Envious. They've got to get the plant down. The nanoswarm will delay these hungry pistoling players of T1 who are so angry. The savagery from them here. They have a chance to win this round now with all of this aggression. And it doesn't stop anytime soon. Caboose finds the back with the Spectre, but the trades are there for T1. Crashies, I gotta say, Crashies with the cam that got that cat info was so insanely well timed from T1, my god.
If EU had one buddy with them, we could see a totally different scenario. Envy, they're gonna get stuffed out. T1, very impressive eco. Now they're gonna have the better weapons as we take a look at the economy for both teams. Is Envy going for a full save, or are they light buying here to try and force T1 back in the hole? Full save.
This is so interesting. Given the fact that I was just talking about how Envy have the clutch factor and how frustrating that is for T1, that is the kind of round you need to win to kind of alleviate some of those frustrations. Picking up a round you're not supposed to win, and Brax is picking up that Odin on the Sova. Of course, that's just what you do. Thanks, Sinatra, for that.
AZK doing a little bit of damage through the smoke. It's going to drop Mummy down to just 22 health. Akis on the Killjoy, so no heals will be available. And it's going to be Food waiting at tree against a pistol rush. That'll be led by a paranoia from Calypso once Envy gets things figured out. And as I say it, a little peek comes in too far. AZK with the punish, and this is a reroute over to B for Envy.
Yeah, I like that pressure play on Cat. Although he goes down, it does give Envy a lot of extra room to move towards that market for that split that they're looking for here, and keeps players towards A for just a moment longer. And now they just have to deal with Brax. Really nice high dart there, and EU's holding things on from the side, so Brax doesn't have to do it all by himself. Beautiful from EU, very clean, down to 2 HP, but what matters is that he's still standing, and in fact T1, all of them are. T1 survived with 5 players, that's great for them.
Great stuff from EU, the T1 Academy player getting his chance to play in the big leagues. Rough day 1, but a fantastic day 2 so far, and here he shows you how to transfer through a wall, finishing off that one, and then the classic coming out. Both players weak, but he lands the headshot against Mummy. EU leading everyone in the server, 13-10 with 5 assists at this point, Dan.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we talked about it. He's going to be in much more of a position to do stuff on a map like Ascent, such a good Omen map, and he's not getting exposed so far. So far, he's doing an excellent job. And Envy, you can see how different their approach is already on their gun round. They go for early mid control. They've got that cat smoke, a deep mid smoke as well, so they can make forward positioning and start to challenge market. So they're not as concerned with that A main positioning. So we're having a different game now in terms of attack. EU with the jiggle there to see if he can find any assailants, but Envy, we can see Envy are getting dangerously close right now, and it doesn't feel like T1 know exactly where they are, which is a problem for T1.
There's just a tripwire in their way, potentially a cage. So you're going to see a deep, slow play coming out of T1. While we're waiting for the action to kick off here, want to remind everyone in the chat, I saw some questions. Yes, TSM was able to defeat GenG in the Group A battle. A survival there from the Omen as a near fall coming out of EU. Instead, he stays alive, and now he converts it into a kill on Calypso.
Oh, great setup there from Brax and EU, but it's not going to be enough to hold on to the site. Here comes the retake attempt. 80k straight in there with that Vandal. He will get taken down by Caboose. Food without the spacing to trade him immediately, but he still gets the job done. 1 versus 1. Have to see if he's able to keep himself alive here. They know exactly where he is, as he does have to drop the molly at the backside. There's the curveball out for the peak. He's got to run it back as well. Does he pull it out? Cypher's getting really close. He will get punished if it doesn't work out for him. He's going to have to play this without the ult as he tries to go for the maneuver, and it's going to work out very well. Finesse. He guessed incorrectly, and T1 hold on just barely in that round.
Finesse has been so clutch today, but that is such a tough scenario. 12 seconds left. You have to break onto the site. You don't have time to really go for a spike plant without being punished. But all got set up early as EU put some shots in their back. Brax drops a kill, and then Food coming through to lock things down. The heal up and the finish with another headshot as he finds 3 in the round. A 9th for T1. They're now 4 rounds away from locking up this series and surviving in Group B.
Yeah, and I love the setup between Brax and EU. The angle that Brax had back right side, EU from spawn, they get a crossfire. I was actually wondering how that would work out, and it actually looks pretty damn good. But here's a very fast approach towards B, so Brax might get a little bit more love in this round, but there's a bit too much love as Finesse takes him down, and now there's problems here. EU, he's got to be careful not to die, not to give up this position. He does have, in fact, no, he doesn't have paranoia, and he does go down. This is looking very dangerous right now for T1.
I feel like T1's worst rounds are eco rounds from Envy. It's so crazy. They just get aggressive, and it seems to throw off T1. Odin in hand as Caboose is trying to get aggressive, forcing players back. The run it back from both sides as now it's Food's turn. And we are going to see Akish drop in the lockdown. Will he be able to detain any players or just buy enough time for his squad? AZK is going to punish.
Oh, disaster strikes here for T1. And there's not really the time left here for Food to make much of this except to save the weapon, maybe pick up an exit kill. And Envy, they just got too close too quick. And that's actually the scary thing when you're anchoring a Sova on the B site. If you mistime your arrows, if they are able to walk between the timings of your arrows and your drones and your info gathering utility such as that, which we found there for Envy, then they're on top of you. And with that Odin, it can get really, really dangerous really quickly. And as we mentioned as well, EU was unable to have the performance he needed there in that round as well. So this really gets Envious back into the mix.
And credit to Finesse. I mean, the man just ran out through B. He takes the fight against Brax, knowing his Spectre is probably going to beat an Odin spray. And he lands the headshots needed. So Envy bringing it tight, Dan. What do you see?
Well, we do have a Hunter's Fury available, I believe, for Mame, so I'm curious how that's going to work out. We'll see the Paranoid going down as well on A main. The battle of A main, the first time we're seeing this on this half. Calypso gets the better of Crashies, though, and that's going to be a huge issue for T1. EU will tally towards A, but just look at how much time is left. Envy are not committed towards A. They just forced a rotation off of market. They know that EU is the market player. So now they can play with this, and they reset the situation. They're in a 5 versus 4, and they can just go anywhere, and T1 will be none the wiser unless they make the info play, and that's very risky to do. You don't really want to do it, but sometimes you have to.
Shout out to Finesse or whoever's making the rotate call. They have read this one properly. You can see the mini-map. It is so right-leaning with 3 defenders there. Finally, Brax is going to rotate back to B. But in the 4v5, 40 seconds are left, and you know a push is coming in the next 10 seconds. The question is what direction. Envy is going to reroute this back over to A short. They're going to try and push through tree behind the curveballs here from Caboose. Will he find any flashes on the initial fight? Tucked away in the corner is Food. Food dodges the first, but won't be able to do any damage as Caboose will land a running headshot.
So much on EU right now. He's going to make the great play with this Omen. Oh, he can't quite find it. Mame with an incredible shot there with the operator to clutch against EU, leaving Brax alone on the rotation. He has a judge. It's not ideal for this scenario as he looks to find anything, but he'll get taken down by Calypso. And you were so right, Pocket, about like the timings there. We got the Sober drone from Brax to clear up B main. They realized that it was going to be a commitment towards that A site, but there had to be more value from the tree position. It was a good angle, but T1, it's starting to slip through their fingers. It's starting to look like Envious are getting real confident.
And I got to give major credit to Caboose today. He continues to impress. This is the Caboose we saw back at the FaZe Invitational. The Caboose that has been missing. Great to see him back on top at 17 and 12 with 7 assists. He's been earning these run-it-backs. He's been putting them to use. And as you take a look, T1 is in a tough spot. They love to stack when they're in a position like this financially, and they go for the triple push down A long, but no one is there. All of the action is over at B, and Brax and EU are going to find out on this a little bit too late.
Yeah, we'll have to see how this one progresses. They actually managed to sneak EU onto the site, so we'll have to see if he's able to do too much with this. He's got himself a stinger, so he's definitely good for one at these ranges. As he waits behind the bomb boxes, we'll see if he's able to find the pick here onto Finesse. He looks like he might be the next challenge. AZK can't get any connections with the daggers. That's so unfortunate for AZK and EU. The stingers, it's pretty good, but they runs out of bullets real quick. Oh, the jump burst, almost good for it. And finally, EU will go down.
Caboose already with 3 kills has another run it back available. He's got Brax dead to rights if he peeks on this left side. Ghost versus Phantom with full armor. Good luck, Brax. Brax getting tickled, and he will get finished off there by FNS as another impressive attacking round for Envy. You saw T1 was broke, though, basically an eco round last time. Now they'll have guns again. And we'll see, what is the plan? Is it just Brax and EU playing B? Are they going to stack B? Will anyone challenge in middle with an operator eventually?
Yeah, there's definitely like this is something that I think, Liquids showed some really great strats towards, and I mentioned it previously. I would love to see like a great set piece in terms of the defenders with a gelato take. You can have some really complex ones which are very hard to stop, but it looks like that might not be in T1's playbook, and there's lots of different reasons for that. They put emphasis on other things, but at this point, Envy, much like T1 were on the attacking side, they're often getting the win in map control and the early exchanges, and that's been pretty difficult. AZK's alone doesn't have the operator towards A main. He's got the Phantom. If he had the operator, that would be really cool.
I think he actually does. I think that's a UI bug. Can we pull up tab one more time? Yeah, they have double up on AZK and Brax, both with half armor, but of course sniper rifles.
That makes more sense then, because I'm like, I don't know why he would be in that position with a Phantom. But we'll see if they can get some initial value here on the A main exchange.
Shout out to Prius or Sapphire, whoever pulled that up. Much love. We had a little stall there at 24 seconds, but you can see the time continues to tick down. And here we go, round 20 underway. Can T1 tie this up? Are we going to see another one go into OT a little bit later? Or is it Envy running away from the game? This is a critical round. And arguably the fiercest defense you're going to see from T1 as they invest heavily in the snipes.
And Envious are definitely looking for this A site. They've got a Hunter's Fury, which we've seen how good that is to attack this site with. They've got to run it back. They're going to throw that in there as well, as Mummy tries to just own anyone in that tree position. Nice entry from Calypso, finding AZK. AZK not even able to let off a shot with the operator before getting taken down, and these trades are looking very quick into this A site. It looks like Envious are in, but can T1 find a way back in for themselves?
Calypso takes down Crashies, and things are looking tough now as the two B players, Brax working alongside EU, trying to work their way into a site that is covered. And Brax, he had an operator to start this round, but never a single opportunity to fire that rifle effectively. EU trying to work some magic. They are broke again, Dan. 11-9. Envy looking to force a map 3 just 2 rounds away.
Yeah, they're just T1. They have been favoring a more passive approach, and there is definitely a lot of merit to that, because you don't give your opposition many opportunities to get early picks and then play that mid round where they can just rotate all over the place. But the thing is that especially when there's ultimates available like Hunter's Fury and run it back, Envious are just very happy just to set piece. Just use all the space you're giving them and then just set piece it out, and that's really advantageous for Envious.
You mentioned the run it back. Keep your eyes on that green Phoenix. Food, the only player to invest in a rifle, has his ultimate, and he's going for the early pick. That was Spike Carrier. Big info gathered. The rest of the team, though, on pistols won't be able to do the damage at range. So you slowed things down, you eliminate a player, with the round far from over.
We just had a drone from Envious go into the B site looking for some information. This is really scary if you're Envy. Sure, you have better weapons overall, but you don't know where the T1 players have been rotating to or what info that they've gathered. And you can see Finesse is just trying to lurk out towards spawn. I like this a lot. We'll see how deep he goes here. They could all actually try to walk out of spawn with multiple players and try to control this rotation position. But Food, he's the guy here. He's the guy with the Phantom. This could be huge for T1. He finds the spike. That's huge info.
Just keep killing the spike carrier. He's going to run it back with the cover. He's got EU watching him. Nice molly to nullify this push. Curveball's expecting a follow-up right after the molly. Instead, he rushes out with 3 health. He's going to be sent back to his original body and continues to hold the back line as the defender spawn is watched. EU trying to slow things down as it looks like a B push is incoming.
This is really scary stuff here for T1. They want to make sure they can convert this round somehow. Got Brax to the back of the side with the Sheriff in hand, looking for the headshots, looking for the perfect moment to peak. Speaking of headshots, Crashy leading by example perhaps, as he now makes his way back in. And they have to go for the plant here. The spike will go down with very few precious seconds remaining on the clock.
Here's that reload.
Oh, he's got it perfectly. He knows where both players are. Crashies is so good at this game.
I love him back on Cypher. I think this is the best move that we have seen from T1. They had Brax on that role previously, but Crashies, he made his name on this agent at the start of Valorant. One of my favorites to watch since the very beginning, and he closes out strong. Brax doing a great job as well. That recon dart giving his team a lot of information, but it all started here with Food. Not once, but twice he drops the spike carrier. When you know where the spike is, you have a much better read on the attackers. You can set up your defense appropriately. And they played this one down to the wire, forced the plant, and then the punish from Crashies will seal the deal. 11-10 T1 after an eco round right back in this.
And we're going to see the early mid control again from Envy. It has been yielding them like pretty consistently, like a good result. And then they can often go into control elsewhere like A main. It's kind of like a backwards approach to how T1 were doing it. They see a two-man setup here. EU is ready to face Akis, and on the trade attempt, well, that's not going to go too well because Brax was there. It was a setup. It was all planned all along. But look at the response here. Caboose snuck up middle. He knows that that's free because EU, who usually plays market, was in the position towards B main. He has to make a play here. This has to result in something.
You've got good position, but you're down 2 players. EU surviving with just about 10 HP. Is still in this one for T1, and he is going to play deep as Crashies gets a little bit aggressive and it will shut down that flank from Caboose. So threat in the back eliminated. Brax is going to scout out the rest of B site with his drone. They are feeling good over on the other side here for Envy. Trying to avoid this score being tied up. It is a 2 versus 5 scenario for Finesse and Calypso. And looking at the bank, I think they should be able to buy next round no matter what. But this is going to be tough. Not a single player dropped from T1.
Yeah, this was such a great round, and I'm really curious, when we have a moment, we'll look at where the ultimates meters are for the players on both sides, because I'm super curious who's going to have the ult advantage going into these dying rounds of regulation. So if we could take a look and through some of the players here, we can see that AZK is not too close to the daggers. We do have the Killjoy ult and available for Envious now at the end of that last round. That could be something that Envious are thinking to plan around. But we have that information, Envy have that information, but T1 also have that information. In Valorant, T1 can see exactly what ults Envious are rocking, so they should be on the lookout for plays with the Killjoy ult.
Okay, will Killjoy be able to make an impact? Akis bottom fragging on this agent once again. More success on the defense, but they rarely went to B. On the attack, the kit hasn't been great for him. Moment to start things off. Going to be droning out B. Last time, they saw both EU and Brax in this position. Crashy's body blocking the drone from coming in. And we'll take a dart. Here comes the push through mid as 4 try and hit hard.
And there goes Food straight through the cage, but into the loving embrace of Finesse. Unfortunately for Food, and the B side is going to be taken, but Crashies is in the back, so there's still one more obstacle. And Crashies, as good as he's been, is not going to be able to hold on to the site for too much longer, as the spike will be planted. And Envious in a really strong position. They didn't even have to use the Killjoy ultimate.
Do you think they will?
I don't think so, no. I think they don't have that much post-plant positioning, but it's definitely more than enough in the 4 versus 2. And I would imagine T1 will want to hold on to this operator. And this was a really interesting round because I'm hesitant to go on to a point here. We might have some action here. Looks like EU is testing the waters. If they can get a pick, then they might decide to go for it, but they just lost everything. But I just wanted to quickly make the point that we knew that the Killjoy ult was out, and to effectively use that in a set piece early on, you're going to want B main control or A main control. At the beginning of that last round, T1 went for A main and B main control because they really wanted to make sure that they had a good idea as to whether Envious were going to be doing something like that. Instead, Envy got that mid control and converted that because, well, there was all the aggression and the early timing for T1 was on the extremities instead.
Envy with the chance to force a game 3 right here. Otherwise, we're going to another overtime game. The first one, quadruple overtime with T1 walking away with the upset on split. AZK out of the gates. Sniper trained on this corner. He has been best when holding an angle, and will he get peeked? Finesse is dancing a bit, but the Killjoy ult is being planted. Food is going to get punished on his peek as it's first blood to Envy.
And it's a fake with this Killjoy ult. They want to pull the rotations away, but it looks like Brax is going to be able to pick up a kill towards middle. I think Brax has the information to know that this is a fake with the Killjoy ult as they try to make their way to the B site. There's all sorts of problems all over the place in the name of Brax, in the name of EU, and Crashies yet to be discovered until the last moment on the take of B. Mummy takes him down, and that gives Envious at least a slither of a chance in this round.
Shock Dart's going to drop him down to 77 health on sight as Mummy has to play deep. Akis trying to stop any pressure moving forward. Two players from the back spawn will slip through as the Hunter's Fury is popped. Akis trades out one. Mummy finds the second. And all of a sudden, it is a 2v1. Brax with an operator. Last man standing. Hunter's Fury in the game on the line. Envy with a 2v4 clutch.
Wow, that's insane. Right, it just pipped at the post there. He had the drone. If he gets that first kill,